Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
It's nice to meet you, sir.
Nice to meet you too.
On the platform of the West Africa State Union Parliament campaign against drug abuse, substance abuse, vices, and harmful cultural practices. Sir, may we know you?
My name is Engr Dika Alfred Moses, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Power, Bayelsa State.
All right, sir. So, what is your take on the campaign against drug abuse, substance abuse, and vices by the West Africa State Union Parliament? What is your advice for youth to shun vices in the sub-region?
The campaign against vices that have caused so much problems in this country by the West African Student Union Parliament, I think it's one of the best things that have happened to us in recent times. Even though it has started quite some time ago from what we have had, I think the impact is being made now, and it is important that you continue in it. Because these vices have had serious adverse effects upon every nation, you discover that things like armed robbery, cultism and ritual killing, drugs, peddling and abuse and addiction, alcohol addiction and abuse, exam malpractices, kidnapping, exam malpractice, like I've said earlier. All these are things that have bedeviled our continent, and particularly Nigeria. So what this fight you are involved in is a good thing that will help us. If it is not done, with time, we will not have peace in our nation. Even now, it is becoming terribly difficult to enjoy peace and security. And it is you that will be able to talk to your peers for them to see why these vices must be fought against, why they must leave them and come out to live clean lives. So I support this move and encourage you to continue in this fight.
Okay. Engineer, sir, what is your advice also to young people against harmful cultural practices? We have issues such as genital mutilation and some other native cultural concussions that are taken. When we were in Plateau State, we met with the former NMA chairman of Plateau State, Dr. Daniel Ghana, MNI, and he told us how they locally brew a highly potent substance called Goskolo in Jos. We have some of our traditional practices that are not very healthy for us as young people. What is your advice to use to shun such traditional practices?
Yes, we must also campaign against these things, particularly the mutilation of
females,
women genitals is a very terrible thing. It is done even in these states, though not generally, particularly some parts of the states we see that practice. But I think the awareness has already started, and we should be able to discourage people from doing such things. God has already created us the way we should be. It is not us that will help God to recreate what He has created in the human body. So there are things we must fight against. And things like, maltreating somebody who may have lost her husband, giving her things to drink, telling her the way she should dress, in a very humiliating form. Those things are not ought to be. We need to discourage them. I'm happy that a lot of other bodies are also now waking up to see how this thing will be discouraged, and I know it is going to be effective.
Okay. So today you received the delegates from across the sub-region at your honor presentation. What is your advice to young people from across the sub-region? In your own time, society seemed to be better according to the stories that we hear because we were not born then. What is your advice now to young people across the sub-region?
People should live good lives in this sub-region, because in our own time, most of the houses we lived in did not even have doors. They used mats to close them, because there was decency, there was security, not provided by men, provided by society, by the system we live in. You are not threatened by who will come and do this or that. Things were decent. And because we were properly brought up, in the right way from the beginning, I want to advise young people to emulate good examples. When you see people living bad lives, don't join them. You have your own life to live, others have their own life to live. So you try to live lives that will make you become prominent tomorrow. I have received honors today, not because of my own making, but by the grace of God, because I lived a life that makes others to appreciate what God is doing in my life. So I want to advise young people, joining other bad boys and used to do evil will not help you tomorrow. So many of them have died in the process. So many people have been maimed in the process. You have your life to live, the other one has his own life to live. So live lives that tomorrow will promote you and make you to be recognized in society.
Thank you, engineer, for your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you too.